Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, February the 3rd. We got a 6-game Thursday slate, and as always guys, we're going to talk through each one of these 6 games. Going to give my quick thoughts, kind of what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night. We'll go through each game, talk about each team, just kind of give you my breakdown of each team. But before we do get started with the breakdown, as always, guys, please do hit the like button down below. Do always appreciate the likes. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. And if you have not yet, go check out the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. So for those of you that are new here and have not signed up for PrizePicks, if you do sign up with code Noah, PrizePicks will give you a 100% match up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer. Take a look at their props for Thursday night's NBA games. PrizePicks, they're more of a player prop based site, so you're just picking the over or the under on players' projections. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money over on PrizePicks. If you guys want to check them out, again, sign up and use code Noah, and they will match your first deposit up to $100 when you sign up with my code. And if you guys want my favorite plays on PrizePicks each day, I do give those out over on Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon member, you can check out the Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. You can get access to all of my updated DFS content, get in our Discord chat. Also, you can get access to my PrizePicks plays that I post each day over on Patreon. But yeah, guys, let's take a look at Thursday's 6-game slate. We're going to start off with the Pistons and Timberwolves game, and starting off on the Minnesota side. So Minnesota today, looking at the injuries, D'Angelo Russell and Patrick Beverley, I believe, are both questionable. Once again, they were both questionable last game. Patrick Beverley played, D'Angelo Russell did not. For now, I'm just going to expect both these guys to play. If they do, I don't think there's a ton that stands out from Minnesota. Detroit, they're not that great of a matchup. Detroit's a bad team, but they do play at a really slow pace. So, I don't know if it's a great spot to target a bunch of Minnesota guys. I think Cat in tournaments makes some sense. Cat's been playing well lately, last few games. 34 minutes against Utah, 69 Draftkings points in a blowout last game against Denver. In only 28 minutes, he put up 54 DK points. Detroit defensively against big men, I don't think they really have a guy that can slow down Cat here. So, I think Cat has a lot of upside at 10K. I think he's priced where he should be, but he's fine on this slate. I think Anthony Edwards at 8K is playable. I would feel a little bit better about Anthony Edwards if D'Angelo Russell gets ruled out, but regardless, I think Ant's fine. 5,500, Jared Vanderbilt. Tough guy to trust. He always offers some upside. It's just his minutes kind of are all over the place. Some nights he'll play 30 minutes. Some nights he'll play mid-20s. At 5,500, if you get 30 minutes from Jared Vanderbilt, he can give you a good score at 5,500. I don't mind him on this slate. It's a 6-gamer, and there really isn't a ton that stands out right now. There's not a ton of standout plays. We're going to have to watch some injury news with some of these teams because there are a lot of key questionable guys today. But Vanderbilt, I don't think he's really going to stand out on this slate, but he's a fine option at 5,500. Beverly, if he plays, I'm not that interested in at 4,800. I don't think there's really any value I'd be going to for Minnesota, unless by some chance Russell and Beverly are both out. If that happens, then we can look to some value here. Last time Russell and Beverly were both out, they started Jordan McLaughlin. If that were to happen again, I think Jordan McLaughlin would definitely be in play for value if he does wind up starting again. But that's news we'll just kind of have to wait and see on. For now, I don't see a ton that really stands out from Minnesota. And then on the Detroit side, so Cade Cunningham is currently questionable. This is, one of the big injuries we're going to have to watch for Thursday's slate. Obviously, Cade Cunningham, when he's out there, he's playing a lot of minutes. He's soaking up a lot of usage. Getting him off the floor, there's going to be a lot of beneficiaries. I think, you would see increased usage for guys like Jeremy Grant and Sadiq Bey. I think you'd see increased minutes for Corey Joseph, Killian Hayes, Frank Jackson. We'd have to wait and see, who would start in place of Cade. I think most likely they would start Frank Jackson. And at 3,800, I think Frank Jackson would definitely be a good value play if he were to start in place of Cade. And I think Jeremy Grant's upside would be a little bit higher. His first game back from injury, he played 29 minutes. He wasn't very productive against the Pelicans, but I think we can expect Grant to get close to normal minutes here. And obviously his ceiling would be a lot higher if Cade gets ruled out. Wouldn't mind Jeremy Grant. Wouldn't mind Sadiq Bey either at 6,200. Kind of been off Sadiq Bey as of late. He's not really been playing that well, but I think his upside would definitely be higher, if Cade doesn't play. And that's probably it from Detroit. I don't think I'd really be going to Kelly Olynyk or Isaiah Stewart or Trey Lyles. None of these other guys really stand out. It's really just Grant and Bey if Cade sits. And then if Cade sits, we can also go to value plays like Frank Jackson, maybe Killian Hayes too. But Frank Jackson, if he were to start for Cade, I would like for value. But next game, we'll talk about Phoenix and Atlanta. So Phoenix pretty good spot here. Atlanta so far this year has not been good defensively. They haven't been nearly as good defensively as they were last season. I think in terms of pace, they've also been playing at a decent pace. Looks like they're about middle of the pack on the season, but defensively they've not been that great. They're towards the bottom of the league in defensive rating so far this season. So I think it is a pretty good spot here for these Phoenix guys. I think Chris Paul and Devin Booker, they're priced pretty highly. 9,700 for Paul, 9,300 for Booker. But CP3 right now with with Cameron Payne out, they're just playing Chris Paul huge minutes. We haven't really seen this before, but Chris Paul's been playing 37, 40 minutes a night. You look at his last 6, 7 games, he's played at least 37 minutes now in 7 straight games. So I think if this game's close, we're going to get 37, 38 minutes from Chris Paul. He's been really productive. He's been obviously getting a ton of assists. He's been scoring more lately, at least 20 points now in 5 straight games, 6 out of his last 7 with at least 20 points. I think Chris Paul is a pretty good play here. I think Devin Booker looks really good as well. Devin Booker, I think his floor is a little bit lower than Chris Paul. Devin Booker is a little bit more scoring dependent. He doesn't get nearly as many assists as Chris Paul does. He doesn't contribute in the other categories, but man, Devin Booker, he's going to play massive minutes. If it's a close game, 38 to 40 minutes. His usage just been massive lately. He's been taking a ton of shots, 25, 30 shots a game, it feels like. With DeAndre Ayton back, I don't know if it really impacts these guys too much, just because with how many minutes they're playing, with how much usage they're soaking up right now, I think both Chris Paul and Devin Booker are firmly in play on the slate. And I do like Devin Booker quite a bit between the two now. I don't have much of a strong preference. I think both are solid. Give the slight edge to Booker, though. And I think on Yahoo, you can definitely play Devin Booker over there. He's $39 on Yahoo. Chris Paul on Yahoo is $40, so Booker coming in a little bit cheaper over on Yahoo as well. The shooting guard position also is a little bit weaker on Yahoo, so that's kind of why I side with Booker over CP3. But I think both Phoenix guards look pretty good here. DeAndre Ayton is probable after returning last game. He only played 28 minutes last game, was not very productive. I don't think we're probably going to be going to Ayton today. He's probably going to be on some sort of minutes limit again. They said last game that his minutes were going to be monitored. He ultimately wound up playing 28 minutes. I think today he probably plays 30, 32 minutes. Don't think that really makes him, a great option. Mikal Bridges, I think, is priced up enough to where I don't have a ton of interest in him. He's been playing really well lately, but $6,400 for Mikal Bridges. Don't think I'm going to go there at that price tag. Jay Crowder's back, so I'm kind of off Cam Johnson, and the rest of Phoenix I'm not really interested in. I think just the guards here, CP3 and Booker, that's what really stands out from the Suns. And then on the Atlanta side, so big question mark right now with Trae Young currently questionable. Trae Young was questionable last game and did not play, so this is going to be really important news. Obviously, Trae Young, when he's out there, he's soaking up a ton of usage. He's playing a ton of minutes on a nightly basis. If Trae doesn't play, there's going to be a lot more opportunity for guys like Bogdan, Kevin Huerter, even someone like DeLon Wright I think would be in play. DeLon Wright did start last game in place of Trae. He only played 23 minutes. He was pretty productive, though, in those 23 minutes, had 24 DK points. The Hawks, they are a pretty deep team. They have a lot of guys off the bench that can get minutes. They have Lou Will, they have Bogdan, they have Gallo. They're a pretty deep team, so I don't think even if DeLon Wright starts again, he's guaranteed to play huge minutes. I think he probably gets mid to high 20s. But 3,600, he is a pretty good value play today if Trae Young does get ruled out. I think you would see more minutes for Bogdan, more minutes for Huerter. Off the bench, last game, Bogdan played 31 minutes, had 32 DK points. I think he'd be in play today if Trae gets ruled out. I think Kevin Huerter would look really appealing. Kevin Huerter played massive minutes last game, 39 minutes, was really productive. His usage goes way up without Trae. He's just got the ball in his hands more. He's going to take more shots whenever Trae's off the floor. They're going to use, he's going to be more involved in the offense. So $4,500 Kevin Huerter, I would like a lot if Trae sits. But if Trae plays, I don't think there's too much that stands out from Atlanta. It is a tough spot against Phoenix. Phoenix, one of the better defensive teams this year. Trae is always viable when he's out there. He always has a ton of upside. But this matchup isn't one that I'm very excited about. I don't think I'd have a ton of interest in Trae today. The rest of Atlanta, like John Collins at 6,300, I think if Trae sits, John Collins looks pretty appealing at this price point. This is a pretty cheap price tag for Collins, especially if Trae's out, there'd be a lot more usage available for him. Clint Capella's minutes just haven't been that good, so it's really tough to trust him right now. Even at 5,900, even though this is a really cheap price tag for Capella, I just don't think we can go there until we see him play more than 24, 25 minutes. You look at his last 5 or 6 games. It's just been 26, 26, 21, 23, 20. He's just not getting 30 plus minutes like we want. Tough to go to Capella right now at 5,900. So That's probably it from Atlanta. Really kind of depends on the Trae Young news. If Trae plays, there's not going to be too much I like here, but if Trae gets ruled out, then that would definitely change things. There's going to be a lot to like from Atlanta if that's the case. But next game, we'll talk about Chicago and Toronto. So looking at the Bulls today, the main injuries here, like Lonzo remains out, Caruso remains out. I think Zach LaVine's probable, so he's expected to play. When it comes to the Bulls right now, with the injuries, with how things are like, shaking out with Lonzo out, with Caruso out, we kind of know the guys we want to go to. It's DeRozan, it's Vooch, it's Zach LaVine. Between the three, main three guys from Chicago, I think DeRozan is my favorite. DeRozan's been playing really, really well lately. He's been really consistent. You look at his game log. I know game log's not everything, but 46 DraftKings points now, and I believe 7 or 8 straight games. 7 straight games now with at least 46 DK points from DeRozan. DeRozan's usage, it's kind of hard to when it comes to usage in the Chicago offense, it's going to be kind of split between Vooch and LaVine and DeRozan. All these guys are going to have 25 to 30% usage rates. But DeRozan, you look at his shot attempts, at least 20 shot attempts in 3 of his last 5 games. The minutes are always going to be there. If it's a close game, DeRozan's playing 36 to 38 minutes. He's just been playing so well. He's been contributing in all categories. He's just been really productive lately that I think he's the guy I like most from this Chicago team. And on this slate specifically, there's not a ton of standout pay-up options today. So I think DeRozan looks pretty good at 9,200. I do like him at first look. I like him a lot on Yahoo. If you play over on Yahoo, he's a power forward over there. The power forward position is pretty gross today. I was kind of skimming through the power forward position before I started making this video. I think if I can, I probably want to be paying up for DeRozan at power forward on Yahoo if possible. So I definitely like him over on Yahoo as well. And then the other Bulls, Vooch and LaVine, no issues with these guys either. I think I would put DeRozan ahead of Vooch and LaVine, but Vooch at 9,100, if it's a close game, he's going to play 36, 38 minutes, always offers some upside, but probably would prefer DeRozan over him. LaVine at 8,900, shown a little bit of a lower floor as of late. He's kind of been the least consistent and the least productive of the 3 main Bulls, but that doesn't mean anything for today's slate. LaVine could come out here and put up 50-plus DK points, and no one would really be surprised. So I think LaVine's fine. Again, I prefer DeRozan the most of the 3 main Bulls guys, but Vooch and LaVine, they're in play too. Ayo, Kobe White, the rest of Chicago, I'm not really on. I think it's just the main 3 guys at the top that I'm really liking from Chicago. And then on the Toronto side, we know the deal with Toronto at this point. They're 5 starters. If it's a close game, you're going to get 36 to 40 minutes from all 5 of Siakam, Van Vliet, OG, Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent. It's really tough to roster anyone off the bench for Toronto just because the starters are playing so many minutes right now. I think all the starters are in play. Siakam, he's going to play 40 to 42 minutes if it's a close game. He's 9K. I don't think that's too expensive for Siakam. He has the upside to pay off this price tag, especially when he is playing 40-plus minutes a night. Same could be said for Fred Van Vliet, who's going to get 38 to 40 minutes if this is a close game at 8,800. I think he's viable. Not my favorite play, but at least in play. Do want to talk about the cheaper guys though. So Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes, OG even. I think these are the guys I like most. Just because of the price discount you get. Gary Trent specifically, he has been absolutely balling as of late. I don't really know what's gotten into Gary Trent, but you look at his last 5 games, at least 40 DraftKings points now in 5 straight games. His shot attempts have been way up. He's been way more aggressive offensively. He's taken at least 21 shots now, or 20 shots in 5 straight games. The minutes have continued to be massive for him. 41, 41, 37, 35. He's going to play close to 40 minutes if it's a close game. 6,100. I think the price has gotten up to a point now where really he's not going to get any ownership. He doesn't really ever project well at this salary, just because if you're projecting him off of his season averages, he's really overpriced right now. But man, with how well he's been playing, with how many shot attempts he's getting, with just how much more aggressive offensively he's been, the minutes as well. I think Gary Trent at 6,100 is someone we can look to on this slate. I do like him quite a bit on both sides. 6,100 on DK, and on Yahoo he's $24 over there. I think you can definitely play Gary Trent on Yahoo. I like him a lot from this Toronto team. He's probably my favorite Raptor, but I think all 5 starters are viable. Scotty Barnes and OG, they're going to play close to 40 minutes if it's a close game. We know Scotty Barnes can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can contribute in all categories. Always offers a somewhat of a big ceiling. He's kind of like a mini Draymond. OG Anunoby going to play 36 to 40 minutes if it's a close game. Viable as well. But that's probably it from Toronto, and I think that's it for this game. So next game, Miami and San Antonio. On Miami, big news to watch here with Jimmy Butler currently questionable. I believe Kyle Lowry is also questionable as well. So these are some big injuries to watch. If Lowry and Butler both play, there's not going to be too much that really stands out from Miami outside of, I think, Jimmy Butler at the top, I think would be viable. 9,400, like I think Butler still has the upside to pay off this price tag. I would feel better about Jimmy Butler if Kyle Lowry doesn't play, just because I think the upside for Butler is higher. They're going to start him at point guard. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. His assist numbers have been way up with Lowry out the last few games. So Jimmy, I definitely would like if Lowry sits. If Lowry plays, I think Jimmy's still fine. He just gets a bump down. I don't think I'd really be going to Bam though, or Tyler Hero. But by some chance, if Butler and Lowry are both out, then Bam and Hero I think would both look great. Last game, I think Lowry and Jimmy were out. Like I think it was the Boston game. They were both out that game, and Bam and Hero were both pretty bad. They got blown out by Boston. I played both Bam and Hero that day because I remember Hero shot the ball god-awful that day. Like 8,400 for Bam, 6,200 for Hero. I think both guys will be really good plays today if Butler and Lowry are both out. But until we get some news on Miami, this is kind of a tough team to break down. For now, I'm expecting everyone that's questionable to play. If that's the case, I think Jimmy's viable, but that's really about it from this Miami team. And then on the San Antonio side, so San Antonio do have some big injuries here as well. Dejounte Murray is currently questionable. This is obviously a really, really big injury that will definitely change up the slate if he is out. If he does get ruled out, that's going to make guys like Derek White, more useful for Keldon Johnson. Guys like Devin Vassell, Lonnie Walker would look better as well. We'd have to wait and see what San Antonio would do with the starting lineup. I'm guessing they would start Derek White at point guard and then probably start like Primo or maybe Lonnie Walker or something. They could start Trey Jones, but I don't think they would do that. I think they probably would just start Derek White at point guard. Derek White would definitely be the biggest beneficiary. $6K is way too cheap for Derek White if Murray sits. We saw Derek White crush, a lot of those games early this season whenever Dejounte Murray was out. Like Derek White was putting up big games every night. I think Derek White would be a really good play today if Dejounte Murray sits. If Dejounte Murray plays, it's a tougher matchup against Miami. I don't think it's really the best spot for him, but man, Dejounte Murray's just been so good this year. He's playing massive minutes in close games. He's been, contributing in all categories, has triple-double upside every night. Like, I still think he'd be viable even in a tougher matchup. Jakob Poeltl is out today, though, and that definitely does open up some value from San Antonio. So I'm guessing they're going to start Drew Eubanks at center. Jock Landale has been getting some run as, like, kind of the backup five. We actually saw them start Jock Landale earlier this season in a game that Poeltl was out. But I think last time Poeltl was out, they started Eubanks, and I think Eubanks did start the second half in place of Poeltl, if I remember correctly. I think Eubanks probably draws a start here, plays mid-20s minutes if I had to guess. The matchup against Miami is obviously not great. It's a tough matchup. It's not the best spot, but 3,300 for Drew Eubanks is definitely way too cheap. He's been a pretty good point-per-minute player. When he's got an opportunity, I'd expect him to start and play like mid to high 20s minutes, and at 3,300, even in a tough matchup, he's going to stand out as one of the better punt value plays today. Definitely like Drew Eubanks on both sides. He's minimum salary on Yahoo, so I think you can definitely play him over there if you're looking for some value on Yahoo. But I don't think it's like a guarantee that Drew Eubanks starts. We'll have to pay attention to the Spurs starting lineup. Whoever starts for Poeltl, I think is going to project out as a pretty good value play. But that's really it for this San Antonio team. Again, big news to watch with Dejounte Murray questionable. That's going to impact a lot. Hopefully we'll have an update in the afternoon, and we can talk more about this in the live stream on Thursday, an hour before lock. I'll be live on my YouTube channel. But yeah, guys, let's talk about these last two late night games. We'll start off with Sacramento and Golden State. So Sacramento, got to watch the injury report for Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox was questionable for Wednesday's game. He did not play. This is a back-to-back for the Kings. I'm guessing De'Aaron Fox doesn't play today. If De'Aaron Fox doesn't play, we kind of know who's going to benefit. It's going to be Halliburton. It's going to be Davion Mitchell. I'd expect they start Davion Mitchell again. Davion Mitchell has started like the last 3 or 4 games or however many games that Fox has been out. And he's been playing big minutes as well. He played 35 minutes against Brooklyn on Wednesday. He's been really productive. He's been really consistent. I think at 4,800, Davion Mitchell would definitely be in play for value if Fox does not play. I think Halliburton at 8,500 would be a very solid option as well. I think at this price point, like, he's not a standout play. It's not like we're getting him at 7,400, 7,500. He's definitely been priced up for the De'Aaron Fox injury, but still the upside's there for Halliburton. We saw him put up a massive game against the Sixers. If this game's close, Halliburton's going to play 38 to 40 minutes. Golden State, defensively, without Draymond, they aren't as good. They do play at a really fast pace. I think in general, this should be a pretty fast-paced game. So I think Halliburton and Mitchell both look pretty solid if Fox is out. that's probably it from Sacramento. Like, I think you could take some shots on Harrison Barnes and Buddy Hield, but those aren't guys that I'm super confident in. Really, the guards is what I would want to be targeting from Sacramento if Fox does not play today. And then on the Golden State side, so Steph Curry at 10,400 on this slate. Like, I think Curry's a pretty decent pay up option just because we don't have a ton of studs to pay up for. You have like Cat, you have these guards that we talked about like Devin Booker and Chris Paul that you can go to, but we don't have like Jokic or Giannis or Embiid or any of these guys to pay up for today. So I think Steph does look like a pretty solid pay up option here. The matchup against Sacramento is obviously really good. Sacramento defensively this year not been good at all. They've been playing at a pretty good pace as well. They're top 10 in pace on the season. The Warriors so far, as of late, they've been kind of slowing things down, but they're still a relatively fast-paced team. I think in general, like I said, this should be a pretty fast-paced game. Steph always offers a very, very high ceiling. He still has somewhat of a low floor just because he is a really scoring-dependent player. On the nights where he's not hitting his shots, he can really disappoint. But Steph can put up 60, 70 any night, and against the Kings, I mean, this is definitely a matchup where Steph could have a lot of success. So I do like Steph quite a bit today. He's for sure my favorite play from Golden State. Outside of Steph, like Wiggins and Poole and Thompson, like I don't see too much else I like from Golden State outside of Curry. Maybe you could go to Clay, but 6K, like I think Clay is kind of priced where he should be now. He's going to play like 26, 28 minutes if it's a close game. How much upside does he offer at this price point? In 28 minutes, I don't really think he offers enough at 6K to be worth rostering at this price tag. But maybe like in the late slate, if you wanted to play Clay, it could be fine. Otto Porter's questionable, so this is kind of important. If Otto Porter does not play, I don't know what they would do with the starting lineup. They could maybe start Kuminga. They can maybe start JTA. We'd have to pay attention to that. Whoever would start for Otto Porter, whether it be Kuminga, JTA, maybe Gary Payton, whoever starts, I think would be in play for value. But we would have to pay attention to that Golden State starting lineup if Porter does not play. He's questionable once again, but overall, there isn't too much that stands out from the Warriors today outside of Steph, in my opinion. And then, last game of the night, the Lakers and the Clippers. So the Lakers, they are on a back-to-back. We'll have to pay attention to the injury report here. I think everyone should be good to go, but, Anthony Davis, he's been banged up lately. He's been on the injury report a lot, so I guess there's a possibility Anthony Davis could sit on the back-to-back here. I'm expecting him to play, though. At 9,800, like I think AD is a pretty good option on this slate. He's been really good these last few games without LeBron. 34, 38 minutes against Atlanta. Want to say that he had a pretty good game again Wednesday against Portland. I believe he finished with like over 50 fantasy points. Yeah, 57 fantasy points from AD on Wednesday against Portland. 30 points, 15 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. Played 36.5 minutes. Like AD's been balling lately. He's been really aggressive. He's been taking over. Him and Westbrook have been playing well. I think Anthony Davis at 9,800 is a pretty good pay-up option today, assuming he's good to go. The Clippers against big men defensively, they've never been good defensively against big men. Zubac, Ibaka, Hartenstein, like none of these guys are going to stop Anthony Davis. So I do really like Anthony Davis on this slate. I think Russell Westbrook is a fine play as well. I had a lot of interest in Westbrook on Wednesday's slate. He was okay. He almost had a triple-double. He was like 1 point shy of a triple-double. Finished with around 40 fantasy points, at least on Yahoo scoring. I can't remember how much he finished with on DK. I think it was a little bit more than that. But, one rebound or 1 point shy of the triple-double. Obviously on Draftkings, with the triple-double bonus, I would prefer that he got that extra point. But I think Westbrook is fine here. If this game's close, like Westbrook's going to play 35, 36 minutes. He's been a lot better as of late. He's been more aggressive offensively. He's been taking more shots. He's been getting peripherals. He's kind of looked like the old Westbrook. Westbrook was really good earlier in the season whenever LeBron missed some games. Lately, he's been kind of struggling, but I think now that LeBron's out, like this is definitely Westbrook's kind of time to shine. And at $35 on Yahoo, like I think Westbrook's still a pretty good play. If you want to play him on DraftKings at 9,600, I think he's a okay play there as well. And then outside of AD and Westbrook, I'm not too excited about many other Lakers. Malik Monk at 5,800, kind of priced where he should be. But if this game's close, Malik Monk should play a lot of minutes. He always offers some upside when his shots fall in. Carmelo off the bench as like a dart throw in GPPs is fine. Carmelo played really well Wednesday, got good minutes, was really productive. Don't mind him at 5K, but definitely, AD and Westbrook are the two guys that stand out from the Lakers here. Again, LeBron, he was doubtful Wednesday, did not play. I'm guessing LeBron will be out again. But obviously, if LeBron winds up playing today, that would definitely change my thoughts on AD and Westbrook. But for now, I'm going to expect LeBron to be out again. But on the other side of this game, talking about the Clippers real quick before we do end this video. So the Clippers, they're still without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. This is a team that, man, like, I really hate rostering the Clippers just right now with how they're running their rotation. Like, they're just playing so many guys every night. It's kind of a hot hand situation. Like, Ty Lue just kind of plays whoever is really playing well. Marcus Morris at 5,700 would really look appealing at this price point, but like, his minutes have just been all over the place. I mean, 27 minutes in a close game against Indiana. He played 23 minutes in a blowout against Charlotte. Against the Knicks, like 24 minutes. Like, he just hasn't been getting the massive minutes that we would expect him to get whenever Kawhi and PG are out. Like, I think in a good matchup against the Lakers, Marcus Morris does offer some upside here if the game could stay close and he does play normal minutes, but like, I don't think it's a guarantee. Amir Coffey, his minutes have been pretty good. He's played at least 32 minutes now in 4 of their last 5 games. Obviously, the Charlotte game was a blowout. Like, I think Amir Coffey, is out of all the starters, like, he's one of the starters with the safest minutes floor. Like, it seems like Ty Lue wants to play Amir Coffey big minutes every night, so, like, I think he's fine. Reggie Jackson, though, I do like quite a bit. Now, Reggie Jackson, another guy that, the minutes have kind of been all over the place, but last game against Indiana, he did get 31 minutes. Against Charlotte, he played 27 minutes without playing in the fourth quarter. He was on pace to play big minutes in that Charlotte game had it stayed close. Now he gets a really good matchup against the Lakers. This should be another pretty fast-paced game. It should be a high-scoring game. Should be a game that stays close as well. Like, I think we should get 30-plus minutes from Reggie Jackson here if he's playing well. There's always an issue with Reggie Jackson. Like, he could get benched for Eric Bledsoe. He could get benched for Terrence Mann. Like, again, man, Ty Lue, he's running so many guys right now. He's playing so many guys, but I think Reggie Jackson in this matchup in what should be a pretty good spot against the Lakers, he has a lot of upside here. And if he does play over 30 minutes at 5,400, he can easily pay off this price tag because he should be, really productive without Kawhi and PG. He should be taking a lot of shots when he's on the court. 5,400, I definitely like Reggie Jackson. I don't feel great about a ton of Clippers, but I think he's one guy that I will be taking a shot on. He's somebody I do have a lot of interest in on both sides. If you want to play him on Yahoo at $18 over there, I definitely like Reggie Jackson on Yahoo. And then you got, Luke Kennard and Eric Bledsoe. I mean, these guys, if they're playing well off the bench, like, they always have potential to play more than you expect. I don't think I'd be going to either one on this slate, but, there's always a chance if they get hot, like, especially Luke Kennard. I mean, he could play more than you expect. Zubac's currently questionable, so this will be something to monitor. Last game with Zubac out, they did start Serge Ibaka at center, and Serge Ibaka actually played pretty well in only 22 minutes, was really productive, had 34 Draftkings points. I mean, this is a spot against Anthony Davis where, the Clippers can't really go small here. They're going to have to play a big, I'd assume. So we probably do get like mid to high 20s minutes again from Ibaka. I think Ibaka would be a decent value play if Zubac's out again. I think Isaiah Hartenstein would get like the backup center minutes. He'd be viable too as a dart throw in GPPs. Only played 14 minutes last game, but I would have to think in this matchup against the Lakers team that, does have AD on the floor a lot. You're probably going to want a big out there guarding AD, so maybe we get more than 14 minutes from Hartenstein here. Maybe we get like 20 and then 24 from Ibaka or something. I think Hartenstein would be a viable punt play if Zubac sits. If Zubac plays, he's kind of an interesting dart throw just because, I think in this spot against the Lakers, they're going to want some size out there against Anthony Davis. We know the Clippers are fine playing small, but I just don't know in this matchup if they can really go small against AD. I just don't think it's going to work. So like Zubac might play 24, 25 minutes if he's able to go. I think he'd be a viable option. But really, man, when it comes to the Clippers, there's no one that I ever feel super confident in. But I think guys like Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, Marcus Morris, if they get 35, 36 minutes like they can play, they have a lot of upside. It's just that Ty Lue, he's going to run with the hot hand. If Luke Kennard comes off the bench and shooting lights out, he'll play Luke Kennard big minutes. If Eric Bledsoe's playing really well, he'll play Eric Bledsoe big minutes. He's always willing to play Batum and Terrence Mann. We've seen Winslow getting more run lately. It's just tough situation. Clippers are running a really deep rotation right now. They're playing a lot of guys, but I think the starters do offer some upside, specifically Marcus Morris, Amir Coffey, Reggie Jackson. Those are guys I do have a little bit of interest in on the slate. Reggie is probably my favorite of the three. But that's it for the Clippers, and that's it for this 6-game slate. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Again, go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you sign up over there, and PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And if you guys want my favorite plays on PrizePicks each day, along with the entries that I'm playing myself, that I'm putting my own money on, I give those all out on Patreon. You can check out all of my exclusive DFS content and all of my PrizePicks plays. Those are posted on Patreon. Link down below in the description. But yeah, guys, best of luck on the slate. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you in the next one.